In recent days, the preseason warm-up games in the NBA have officially started, and all teams have also appeared one after another. If there are players whose on-court performances are most impressive to everyone, then many people will probably mention the name of Lively, the young center of the Mavericks. In the warm-up game between the Mavericks and the Grizzlies on October 8th, many star players of the Mavericks at the starting level, such as Luka, Irving, Clay and others, did not play. After the team's second-year interior player Lively appeared, he performed extremely well on both offense and defense. And obviously, compared to the regular season and playoffs last season, he has made obvious progress. According to reports, Lively had special training with Chandler, the former championship interior player of the Mavericks this summer, to further improve his defensive skills. At the same time, he also polished his offensive skills together with his trainer. In fact, since entering the league, Lively has been learning from Chandler all the time. The relationship between the two as master and apprentice is very strong. So, judging from the specific performance in the game, in which aspects does Lively's progress manifest? What help will his progress bring to the Mavericks championship pursuit in the new season? Let's first take a specific look at this game against the Grizzlies. With 7 minutes and 9 seconds left in the first quarter, Lively officially came off the bench. In the first play, Lively obviously hadn't quickly found his rhythm in the game. Facing Morant's breakthrough, his foot movement was a bit slow and he was finally fouled. But it didn't take long for Lively to get into the groove. Look at this shot. Marshall was playing one-on-one against Little Pippen on the offensive end. He took advantage of his physical superiority and squeezed into the restricted area. Then he made a high arc bank shot, but the ball hit the front of the backboard and didn't go in. At this time, Lively took the lead with his excellent rebounding sense and physical superiority. He successfully grabbed the offensive rebound. Then, facing the Grizzlies players' attempts to steal the ball, he still didn't make a mistake and successfully scored a 2+1 under the basket. It is worth mentioning that Chandler, who has been giving Lively special training all along, grabbed a total of 3,529 offensive rebounds in his career and can rank 15th in NBA history. Taking this shot as an example, Lively's every move and style have a bit of Chandler's demeanor. Of course, as a former DPOY player, Chandler has also been extremely helpful to Lively on the defensive end. With 3 minutes and 31 seconds left in the first quarter, Lively was matched up against Grizzlies interior player Clark at the top of the arc. Facing Clark, who has relatively fast movement speed, Lively lowered his center of gravity and spread his arms, not giving his opponent room to break through. After Clark and Kennard completed a pick and roll, he still remained in front of the two. In the absence of a good shooting space, Kennard could only pass the ball to Pippen Jr. in the corner. At this time, Lively ran to the baseline again to double-team Pippen Jr. With his excellent height and wingspan, he successfully disrupted Pippen Jr.'s vision and finally caused the opponent to make a mistake. Judging from this play, Lively alone successfully restricted the Grizzlies' offense. His influence on the defensive end is even comparable to that of KG or Wembanyama, which is extremely outrageous. Just 30 seconds later, the same defensive performance was staged again. Kennard suddenly took a three-pointer on the fast break. The ball bounced far away and ended up in Pippen Jr.'s hands. Pippen Jr. passed it to Kennard again. Kennard faked a shot, quickly broke through the perimeter defense and rushed straight to the basket. Lively, who was guarding the restricted area, arrived in time again. He raised his arms high and successfully disrupted once again. Kennard, in a panic, chose to pass the ball and finally it went out of bounds. In addition to his obvious role in protecting the rim inside, Lively's excellent footwork makes him different from ordinary tall centers. He can also provide high-quality defense against perimeter players, such as in the following play. The Grizzlies quickly dribbled across half-court. Then Pippen Jr. passed the ball to Laravia in the corner. At this time, Lively, who was marking Clark, quickly predicted Pippen Jr.'s passing route and then moved in front of Laravia. Seeing that there was no better shooting opportunity, Laravia took a lateral step back, hoping to create distance from Lively. Unexpectedly, Lively still rushed in front of him and spread his arms. Laravia could only stop the ball and pass it hastily to Bane. In the end, Bane failed to make the shot and the Grizzlies' offense ended in vain. These few plays above excellently prove Lively's defensive ability. He can complete rim protection under the basket, and when facing a mismatch, he can also use his own speed to limit the opponent. If the progress on the defensive end is not so obvious, then Lively's progress on the offensive end can be said to be a pleasant surprise. First of all, Lively has improved his ball handling ability and can dribble and score. With 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the first quarter, Lively received a pass from his teammate in the backcourt. At this time, he did not quickly stop the ball and find the guard but chose to dribble across half-court by himself. Facing Clark's defense, Lively suddenly accelerated, lowered his center of gravity, and after entering the three-point line, suddenly made a crossover dribble and changed direction to the left. This move obviously caught Clark off guard. Pippen Jr. on the left also chose to rush in front of Lively for help defense. Facing the help defense, Lively decisively closed the ball and made a back turn to the right, successfully helping himself gain space for a layup and successfully scoring a 2+1. After this shot was made, the Mavericks fans erupted in amazed cheers. The reason is simple. Such a goal is hard to see on Lively, a blue-collar rim-running center, in the past. At the same time, this shot also vividly shows Lively's ball-handling ability that he has focused on improving this summer. At the end of the second quarter, Lively showed his back-to-the-basket skills. In the last 40 seconds, Lively and Hardy completed a pick-and-roll at the top of the key. Then Smart, who was at a physical disadvantage, switched to defend him. Lively decisively blocked Smart to establish position, and his teammate also passed the ball to Lively in time. Seeing this, Clark quickly rushed in front of Lively. Lively quickly made a turn and scored with a hook shot on the right side of the basket. This shot fully reflects Lively's judgment of the opponent's defensive formation when attacking, as well as his significantly improved ability to handle the ball and further enrich defensive skills. In addition to the newly developed defensive skills of Lively himself, his finishing under the basket also maintains the extremely high efficiency as in the previous season. In the end, in the whole game, Lively played for only 13 minutes but made 5 of 5 shots, getting comprehensive data of 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists and 2 steals. He can be said to be the most eye-catching presence on the court. So, what help will Lively's progress on the defensive end, as well as his increased ability for independent offense and offensive skills under the basket on the offensive end bring to the Mavericks in the new season? Before talking about this topic, we can first review Lively's performance in the playoffs last season. First, let's look at the defensive end. Take this shot as an example. Conley dribbled across half-court and completed a pick-and-roll with Reed. At this time, Lively was matched up against Gobert. Then Jaden moved from the top of the arc to the corner. Luka, who was defending him, was blocked by Gobert during the process of following. Eventually, Jaden successfully received Conley's pass in the corner. In the case where Luka had already arrived in time, Lively still chose to give up on Gobert and double-team Jaden forward. As a result, the basket was completely left open. Jaden passed the ball to Gobert, and the Frenchman easily dunked and scored. This shot shows Lively's immaturity in defensive judgment and positioning. This is also the part that he focused on improving this summer. If it were the current Lively, when facing this situation, he is believed to make a more appropriate choice. Next, let's take a look at the offense. In this shot, Lively and Irving set a pick-and-roll. Gobert was switched to face Irving, and the one matched up against Lively was Likaya. Since Lively does not have a shooting threat, the other Timberwolves players decisively double-teamed Irving. Although Irving finally successfully caused a foul, this still cannot be considered an excellent offensive choice. If Lively had the threat of mid-range offense at this time, Irving would have more options when breaking through. After all, with Likaya's build, it is difficult to interfere with Lively's shot. Not only in the series against the Timberwolves, this situation also continued into the finals. Since the Celtics adopted a 5-out unlimited switching defense strategy, Lively would be matched up against perimeter players who were significantly smaller than him in many plays. For example, in this shot, Luka and Washington completed a pick-and-roll at the top of the arc, and Lively was near the baseline at this time. Tatum was responsible for marking him. But after the pick-and-roll was completed, due to a lack of confidence in his own offensive skills, Lively did not use his physical advantage to post up and play one-on-one in the restricted area. Instead, he chose to back off to create breakthrough space for Luka. In the end, Luka was forced to stop by Holiday and Pritchard at the free throw line, and his shot missed. Just imagine, if Lively posted up and played one-on-one against Tatum under the basket at this time, and with Luka passing the ball in time, the other Celtics players would inevitably have to help defend. Then Josh Green and Irving at the two corners on both sides would have a more open shooting space. Thus, whether Lively attacks on his own or passes the ball, it will give the Mavericks offense more options. This is the comparison between Lively's performance last season and now. It can be seen that his progress on both offense and defense is very obvious. Next, let's talk about what help he can provide to the Mavericks in the new season. First of all, it is to reduce the burden on Luka and Irving during the regular season. If having the ball in Luka's hands at critical moments in the playoffs is the best choice, then during the regular season, perhaps Lively can stand near the free throw line more often to facilitate. At the same time, when he has the ability for independent offense, it will be difficult for opponents to leave him open as decisively as last season. Thus, he can better provide opportunities for his teammates who are running without the ball. According to previous news reports, Mavericks head coach Kidd specifically consulted Phil Jackson about the details of the triangle offense this summer. Perhaps we can see more plays facilitated by Lively in the new season, just like what Pau Gasol did during the Lakers' 2 consecutive championships. At the same time, Lively's more participation in ball distribution can also reduce the physical exertion of Luka and Irving, allowing them to have more abundant physical energy at critical moments. Secondly, it is the progress on the defensive end. Before Gafford came to the Mavericks last season, Lively was already the mainstay of the team's defense. And with the further polishing of his defensive skills during the offseason, Lively will provide more defensive help to the Mavericks in the new season. As the key link in perimeter defense, Jones Jr. has left the team. Lively may undertake more defensive responsibilities for the team. Many people say that Wembanyama will be the hottest contender for the DPOY in the new season. But considering that the Spurs' record may still not be very good in the new season, perhaps Lively also has a chance to be a dark horse competing for the DPOY. Finally, what I want to talk about is what kind of competitiveness the Mavericks will have in the Western Conference with such a comprehensively strengthened Lively in the new season. During this offseason, the Mavericks have introduced players such as Grimes, Clay, Marshall, and Dinwiddie. Although they lost Jones Jr. and Josh Green, the team's perimeter defense may decline a bit. However, the arrival of these new recruits has improved the team's roster depth and made the Mavericks lineup more reasonable. At the same time, they all have decent shooting abilities, especially Clay. This is more conducive to creating a good space for Luka and Irving, making it easier for the two to organize offense and play one-on-one. As for other teams in the Western Conference, teams like the Clippers and the Nuggets have been weakened to a certain extent. The Timberwolves will have to face the problem of Randle integrating with the team. The Lakers, Warriors, and Suns are facing the problem of their core players getting 1 year older. Under normal circumstances, in the new season's regular season, the Mavericks can still firmly occupy one of the top 3 positions in the Western Conference. If there is a team that poses the greatest threat to the Mavericks on the road to returning to the finals, it must be the Thunder. This summer, the Thunder introduced Hartenstein, filling the team's interior weakness. They also replaced Giddey with Caruso, making the team's perimeter defense and shooting even better. The Thunder's whole team is balanced inside and outside, and the roster structure is also very young. Coupled with the team's enriched experience through last season's playoff journey. Once the Mavericks and the Thunder meet again in the playoffs, the opponent's perimeter players will surely cause a great impact on the Mavericks. At that time, who will defend SGA will become a problem that the Mavericks must face. At the same time, the duel between Lively and Chet will also become a key link and may even determine the trend of the series. It has to be said that the Mavericks are an interesting team. Even though they have 2 superstars and even reached the finals last season, there are still many fans who underestimate them, thinking that their performance last season was just a flash in the pan and that they cannot repeat the magic in the new season. Lively's progress may inject a shot in the arm for Mavericks fans. There are even fans already thinking, should his next contract extension be for $30 million or $50 million?